I know a place. I know a place. I know a place is out now in the future. Is out now in the future when this drops. Before we get going, and I have questions for you about it, could you give our dear listeners just a elevator pitch for the book?
Absolutely. So I Know a Place is a collection of 13 stories of mine. They include the award-nominated novella Rest Stop, and then 12 other short stories of varying lengths. Some, only a couple of pages long. Some are maybe technically novellas as well, a couple novelettes, a couple short stories proper. And it is a collection about identity and claustrophobia and dubious conversations that go where the conversants are not expecting. I'm super excited about it. It's my first short story collection. It's got previously published stuff. It's got some brand new stuff. It's got an introduction by Stephen King himself, which is mind-blowing for a number of reasons, but also because I had kind of imagined this book striking a similar vibe as some of his short story collections, which were so inspirational to me, meaning that they really run the gamut from kind of EC Comics, Tales from the Crypty, sort of sick little jokes, to more kind of fully realized worlds within a story. They're all basically grounded in character and character arcs and things like that. But some of them might go places you're not expecting, genre-wise and format-wise. It's got time travel, it's got sci-fi, it's got epistolary horror. There should be at least something for everybody, if not all things for everybody. That's the real hope.
I mean, it's great. I thoroughly enjoyed it.
Thank you very much.
I mean, I didn't expect not to enjoy it. I've read your books, so it's not like I'm like, oh, I don't like Nat Cassidy. Let's see if you can prove me wrong. But I mean, like, I was gonna ask. So the introduction by Stephen King, it's pretty crazy thing.
Agreed.
Yeah, and I mean, there's even, the eyeballs on the cover and immediately reference Night Shift to me. There's even, I believe, a textual reference to where there's somewhere in the book. There's bandages to the bandage hand to Night Shifters. Or am I imagining? Oh, I'm reading Monsters in the Archives right now, and I'm getting that's
just all it's all cross pollinating.
But I mean, like, it's definitely in my mind. She mentions the bandages on the hand of Night Shift, which is the first thing I read of Stephen King, and now there's the eyeballs are literally in the book following you around, which I really do like a lot. I love it when was that okay? This is not really one of my initial questions, but this does come to mind. There's multiple things in the book where I read a digital copy, but I assume in the printed page you have to. The emojis, I believe, are like when they fill a page full of emojis. What is is there any extra process you have to get that printed, to get permission to like do outside of weird bleeds and stuff like that?
If it were a more traditionally published book, yeah.
Okay.
Although if it's grayscale and it's something that is easily done through type, like an emoji, then it's usually a pretty easy ask. But because this is an indie published joint, and it's with Shortwave with Alan Listufka, who's just like a design genius anyway, I knew that he was going to be game for running with some of the more experimental stories and experimental formats and stuff like that, and things like the googly eyes, which are diegetic to Rest Stop. They take place in that story for
you are literally encountering them.
Yeah, the way that they like pop up throughout the rest of the text, that was all Alan's idea. So like no permission was needed whatsoever. The publisher himself was like,
he's like, no, this is great. We should do this.
Yeah, exactly.
I mean, I had Laurel Hightower on last week, and also Shortwave, Crossroads.
Brilliant book. I love Crossroads.
It's the hardest. I think I told her, I'm like, it's the hardest book I had to read for this podcast so far. It's just so hard, so challenging, so brutal. Um, so you mentioned identity and place, claustrophobia. Was that in mind as you're collecting these stories? Did you know, I know this is going to be called I Know a Place, and I want to focus on make that a part of the theme of the connection, the connective tissue between all the stories? Was that intentional, like before, or that was that like, oh, I have these stories, these are the ones I really want people to read. How do I connect them? Which
A
came first?
a little more the latter than the former. It was a very
Okay.
organic kind of development. Basically, the way this collection came to be was that uh, Rest Stop had come out 2 years ago and had sold really well, and some people said some nice things, and some nice things happened with it, and it wound up being one of Shortwave's best-selling titles. It might have even been their best-selling title, if I remember correctly. And then flash forward to last year, and Shortwave got this distribution deal with Simon and Schuster. And because Rest Stop had been such a high seller, we were like, well, we want to reissue it so that it gets that distribution push behind it now, so it can be available in more places. But we didn't want to just like reissue it, or like slap a couple of already available short stories to it. So we were like, well, why don't we make it like a proper collection? I've done like 4 chapbooks with Shortwave already. So we had those and Rest Stop, and then I was like, well, I got a couple of other short stories that I think I can collect. I have the rights to collect now. So we put those in there, and then I have this like long running list of short stories that I want to write, or some that I've been fiddling with, or something like that. And so I was like, well, why don't I pull like 6 more of these? So it's like a really proper, thick collection. And I liked the number 13 for
I was
obvious
about to
reasons.
ask the 13 that pops
Yeah,
out in
it was just
particular.
kind of sort
It's
of a
appropriate.
no-brainer.
It feels
Uh,
right.
and then from there, so like I had some already extant stuff, and then I was like, okay, well, what unites these already? I didn't just want it to be like an arbitrary sort of collection of stories, and I needed help narrowing down the ones that I wanted to write exclusively for this collection. So that's kind of where the theme started to bubble up. I was like, Rest Stop is going to be the main event. That's going to be kind of the we knew it was going to be first, and like just kind of thinking of like Skeleton Crew, one of my favorite short story collections that begins with a novella. When you start a collection with such a long piece, that's kind of like your operant principle. It's like here's going to be the thesis statement for everything. So I was like, well, what's Rest Stop about? It's about claustrophobia, and it's about confrontation, and it's about identity. And I started to see that that was also inherent to the already extant stories that we had. And so from there, I was able to like be like, okay, well, I'm going to do this story and this story, and several of these stories are based on old short plays of mine that had that theme already. And I was like, okay, great. It all just kind of started to gel into one cohesive whole. And around halfway through that process, originally this was just going to be called Rest Stop and Other Dark Detours, and then it was like, well, we've got so many stories now. Why don't we just like give it a super
Proper.
title?
Yeah.
And again, I like just keep a list of like possible titles for a short story collection, and this was one of those titles that I'd just been kind of kicking around for a while. And I was like, perfect, that's it. That kind of not only does it reference place, but it's got this kind of evocation of conversation. I know a place is a thing that you say to another person. And there are so many conversations that are happening in this collection. And I was like, great, slam dunk. I know a place, super title. And now it really feels like it's its own release. It doesn't feel like we're just saying like, hey, buy Rest Stop again. It's like, no, this is a legitimate release in and of its own right.
It's I don't know. I mean I think I didn't think I don't think I realized the importance of the conversations
Mm.
as I was reading. I was just kind of enjoying it, and then I read your little I don't know what to call it, the notes, I guess, is the simplest way on the stories, and about making them about the importance of conversation. I think that
Yeah.
really probably keys on why I liked it so much, because I don't know, I was thinking Exorcist 3. which
One of my
is
favorites.
but I mean, it's mostly just conversations.
Yeah.
There's not like a lot of stuff that happens in the
Yeah.
movie. It's mostly just people talking to each other.
Cop and a priest hanging out.
Yeah, just hanging out, talking about awful things, very horrible things. And you mentioned adapting plays, stage performances to prose. What does that look like? How do you tackle that? How did you tackle like changing? You know, obviously some of it's one-to-one dialogue. Oh, we just move the dialogue over. But there is, I think you even mentioned it in for Meet Cute 2, you had to change significant things about it because without the performance aspect, there's things that a reader is not going to catch, not going to get. Was that the challenge for every single one of those?
Yeah, plays? It was a really interesting experience, actually, because you know, in my hope of hopes, I would have been like, oh yeah, it's easy, just just copy the dialogue and put some explainers around it, and there you go, great. I've got so many short stories ready. But as is often the case, like if you actually really want to do it legitimately and you want to do it justice, as soon as I started getting into the adaptation process for this handful of stories, the medium affects the way you tell the story, and it affects the way that the story is received. There are different tools that you get to play with. There are different assets that you get to explore. Like you just said, like you don't have the benefit of a performance to convey a lot of the kind of emotional and subtextual intent and effects of the story. And that can become a challenge, and it can really become a sort of exciting opportunity to figure out sides and depths of the story that you didn't even know existed. Like as a playwright, I tend to write, probably unsurprisingly, very thick stage directions anyway. Like I can be very novelistic in my plays, and so I usually always direct my plays as well. So like I always have like a clear vision of the piece, regardless of whatever medium it is. But there were several times, Meet Cute number 2 in particular, where I was like, oh, this story is actually entirely different when it is on the page. Meet Cute number 2, not to spoil anything, but that's kind of like a blind date that goes in a very unexpected direction.
I mean, when you mention, that is the thing that I think it is my favorite of everything.
Oh, thank you. That's great to hear.
Absolutely loved it, even though it's not like when you say it some of the stories push different genres. I feel like that story is almost like a tease at what you could obviously become a horror story. It could be something really terrible, but maybe it's not. Maybe it's not. And I don't know the fact that here, you finish your answer. Your answer is very about the translating things to prose. I have a follow-up question related to Meet Cute number 2, but
exciting. Yeah, that's one of the stories that I'm kind of the most excited for people to read too, because it is so different. Like I going back to the Stephen King of it all too. Like I always love when his collections, they will span a wide variety of genre experiences. And every now and then there will also be in these collections, like thinking of like Night Shift, The Woman in the Room, or The Last Rung on the Ladder. Like these are like really more character drama than horror. There will still be elements of horror and the threat of horror, which I think is very much the case in this story. But it is also a little more, for lack of a better word, mundane. It's a little more grounded in kind of an everyday experience, as opposed to like an extraordinary experience. And there are still threats and revelations and things like that inherent in these more mundane experiences, which is why it's included in this grab bag of garish horror. But the play version of that story ends in a much more, I would almost say, conventional way. Like it was kind of intended to just be like this story that starts in an unexpected place and then it ends in this way where you're like, that was satisfying. And I realized pretty quickly in the adaptation process into a prose story where I was like, oh, I can't do that at all. Like there's no way to sell that, let alone justify it, because in the story we're so in the characters' experiences and perspective, and the threat is so much more magnified, even in context of this collection. But let alone just like knowing how, one of the participants of this conversation is receiving all of this information. Like, there's no way we can have a conventional ending. It has to end differently, just by virtue of the medium in which this story is being told. So it was a really fun and fascinating sort of lesson in how medium affects story, not just the mechanics that you need to embrace in order to tell a satisfying story in a given medium, because every medium has its own language. And if you're really doing an actual adaptation and not just kind of a mercenary, like, here's a play but in story form, like you're really trying to retell the story in this new medium, you're going to be using a different language anyway. But that language leads to all sorts of subtleties and all sorts of revelations that wouldn't be accessible to you otherwise. And that happens most explicitly in that story. But throughout the handful of stories that were adapted, there were all sorts of moments where I was like, oh, this is so much different than it was just like watching it, receiving it as an audience, and having sort of the elements of the story delivered to you through physicality and through dialogue and through the shapes that people are able to be made on stage. It's such a different experience.
I was gonna say I would like to see Jubilee Juncture on stage.
That's maybe my favorite.
That's the thing I would want to see. And that's a related question. I just wanted to add this. I don't know if you play any video games at all. I don't know if you're a gamer.
I would love to be, but I kind of have to not.
Yeah, exactly. There's you have to cut some things out of your life so you can write books. But it reminded me. I mean, it's probably pulling from similar places, but there's a recent game called Berry.
Ooh.
Berry the fruit.
Yeah.
Berry the verb. Berry the fruit. And you're on a set of a children's television show.
I've never heard of this. I love it already.
And there's a big hole in the ground, and you feed the props of the show into a hole, and the hole gets bigger. That's the whole game. Anyone out there listening? Anyone? I mean, it's very. This is not a video game podcast, so I'm not going to spend all my time talking about this game. But if you're anyone out there listening is curious, it's like $8. Go check it out. It's a great game. But it also has lots of like ominous children's television program, friendly and sweet. Oh, no, not friendly and sweet. Very ominous, with politics of people on the show as well.
Ooh.
Yeah. Okay, Meet Cute number 2 is Meet Cute number 2 because there is a Meet Cute number 1. And I've noted there's a couple other things happening throughout the collection where like 2 of the stories reference people losing a sense of smell, and then that raising a percentage. People are more likely to commit suicide because if they lose their smell. That happens in 2 stories. There's obviously there's thematically a lot of things connect through the collection, but Meet Cute number 1 is very different than Meet Cute number 2. And is that intentional? Is that like, oh, I'll name this Meet Cute number 1 and to set some expectations for what Meet Cute number 2 will be, but then I'll be able to disrupt them? Was that? I'm assuming that's intentional because it really worked on me. I was really worried for a bit.
Yeah, that was absolutely the intent. And originally, the 2 stories were even going to be directly next to each other.
Wow. Okay.
They were going to be like the 2 penultimate stories. And then I decided, again, going back to the Stephen King of it all, I was like, well, after The Mist in Skeleton Crew, that is followed by like one of the shortest stories in Skeleton Crew. So I was like, well, I like that flow. I like how it breaks things up. So I'm going to move Meet Cute number 1, which is like the shortest or one of the shortest stories. I'm going to move that to right after Rest Stop to kind of break up the sort of the rhythm of long pieces. And that's why it explicitly originally they were just called like a Meet Cute. They were both called Meet Cutes, but I gave them the numbers because I wanted to make sure when you get to Meet Cute number 2, you still have that experience from number 1.
It worked on me. I'll tell you that.
That was very much intentional.
Okay, I assume so. But I mean, I really like the that the lingering, like,
Yeah.
again, it's not like they're not connected in any way,
Right.
except that they happen to be in the same collection and have similar titles. But the way that it works on a reader's mind, I really appreciated it. Laugh lines, the epistolary in emails this time versus letters, but was it always emails? Was that always going to be emails versus, like, because I feel like that story could work in prose. Like, you could tell that story in prose. Was it always, I want to, you mentioned you hate emails. So it's like, do you want it? Was it always, I want to tell this in emails?
Yeah, pretty much. That was one of those stories that kind of developed as I was writing it.
Okay.
I was just like, oh, I want to tell a scary story through emails. And that's the story that unspooled. I love epistolary stories. They're challenging because, like, I'm a real, like, a pedant. I'm a real stickler for realism in any sort of, like, found footage sort of thing. So when emails start to feel like, or letters in epistolary fiction, when they start to feel like they're self-consciously constructed for the story, it's a real turnoff for me. I mean, Lovecraft is replete with some of those where, like, suddenly, like, someone is, like, screaming in the letter, and
I
it's
was
like,
gonna say, there's I have written an epistolary,
yeah,
and I understand, like, you're like, wait a minute. Oh no, there's cats tearing apart my green screen behind me. Okay, now I have to say pause because this is not tenable.
I love it.
There is that question when you're writing a epistolary, like, well, it's already happened. The thing that I'm writing about has happened. I have to keep that always. I can't be like, you can have them go, wait a second. Theoretically, they're writing, they're like, wait, and then the next missive is the thing that actually catches the reader up on what's going on. But it's a
challenge.
It's mental gymnastics.
Yeah. And one of the things I really liked and found appealing about the email form of that is voice to text. So I was able to make things like a little more in the moment and less post hoc. So I knew I really wanted to write a story through emails using voice to text. And I like, the main challenge was, can I make emojis scary? So that was my mandate for that story.
I mean, again, I like I think the design element, using the flooding with all the emojis, really makes it adds that extra layer of effectiveness.
We scaled it down too. Like, there was a point where there were, like, I think it was like 10 pages. Emojis at one point. We're like, all right, well,
that's a lot.
We'll scale it down a little bit.
Fruiting body. A fruiting body is, I guess, technically a performance piece.
Yeah.
Is that what you're asking of people? Hey, go find people, perform this, as a group activity. That is, like, utterly perplexing to me, because that's something I've never written anything like that. Was that all one while you were writing poetry, presumably? Like, that's effectively what it reads like. If you're not performing it, it reads like poetry. Was that born as poetry? Was it born as was it born alongside those theater pieces where it's going to be performed on stage? Where did that come from?
Yeah, that's a great question. I'm glad you asked that, because I haven't gotten to talk about it too much. I did not originally intend to include that piece. That was, like, one of the last things where we were like, oh, we could include that, and it was a big question mark for a long time. I mean, it still is. I'm still kind of bracing for the people who are probably going to be like, this was a great collection, but except for that thing, so I hated it. Because it is a weird and strange, just kind of curious piece that I love, and I'm really excited for the people who will love it too, because I know there are some people I think are going to get a lot out of it. It doesn't have to be performed, but that's kind of its ideal form, is that it becomes this communal experience that is performed among a group of people. And the reason why I chose it originally was we were working on, like, the kind of the first stab at this collection, figuring out everything that was going to be included and the kind of order that things were going to be. And we knew that we were also going to be doing an audio version of this through Simon and Schuster's audio division, and a theater company that is run by some dear friends of mine, several of whom, were instrumental in some of the play versions of some of these stories, just kind of coincidentally enough. They have a new theater company that they've put together, and they've been doing some fun new things. One of which was this piece was originally written for the stage. It was a performance piece, and they performed it on the radio in New Jersey like 6 months ago or something like that. And I was listening to their performance of it, and it was really cool, and it had all these sound effects, and it was doing the thing that it's supposed to do. And I was like, I think this would be awesome in an audiobook. So maybe there's a way we can have this be a audiobook exclusive sort of thing or something like that. And I sent it to Alan, and I was like, what do you think? Is this crazy? I love when audiobooks have fun performance sort of aspects to it. To Alan's credit, he was like, we should just put this in the collection. This actually reads really well. And I was like, are you sure? And he was like, yeah, it reads, like you said, like a poem, even if people aren't performing it. And so I was like, okay, let's think about it. And I started to realize that, again, we've got these 12 pieces at this point that are all about isolation, and they're all about claustrophobia, and they're all about this kind of fracturing of self. And A Fruiting Body is all about component parts and sort of cellular makeup. And as a performance piece, it's literally this long monologue that is broken up into almost random chunks that you're supposed to read cold in a rotating group of people, so that the synthesis of the thing that you were saying becomes reality, even though every component part could actually be kind of incomprehensible. But you are contributing to this thing that starts to make sense as you are saying it. And I was like, oh, that's actually a really nice sort of capstone to this whole experience. We've got all these stories that are about sense being stripped away the more the story goes on. And here's one that is actually about the congealing of sense as the story goes on, and sort of sense being stitched back together. And all these moments of isolation now kind of culminating to this moment where no, you're meant to do this together, and you're meant to kind of stitch everything back together. And I was like, oh, that's really nice. I really like that. There's it's ominous. It's still got some weird apocalyptic sort of undertones.
There's some weird stuff in there.
Yeah, but if you really want to look at it as a sort of humanistic the end, then I like that. The sense it gives me is just that feeling of dawn breaking. We're still in the dark. We're still kind of confused by what existence is about. But there's a sense of something on the horizon with this piece. And it had originally been written as a commission for a theater company that was doing a play. This would have been 15 years ago or something like that. They were doing a play that was, one of the main characters was autistic. And I was commissioned to write a piece that was about what is it like to experience life in a sort of neurodivergent way, which is why it then became this sort of fractured sort of new attempt at storytelling. And I liked that element to it too, because it was yeah, this is if this is going to be a collection about self, then it's also a collection about self-perception, and it's also a collection about just perception in general. So it's a kind of great way to leave the reader with here's this kind of fractured mirror at everything we've looked at thus far. Now go out into the world and hopefully view your own perspective of things, see the fractures within your own perspective of things. So it wound up, even though I did have this moment of everything else has been relatively standard as far as stories go. We've got an epistolary story, we've got kind of a poem / ghost story memory sort of thing with a lunar eclipse, but this is the most experimental form that the collection has. But it just felt righter and righter and like more necessary as I thought about it. And bonus, it gets a really cool sort of performance in the audiobook now. So yeah, that's the long and short of A Fruiting Body. It's very strange. It won't be
I
for
mean,
everybody.
I read it out loud by myself, and it's still
That's awesome.
I still had it. It still had the effect of like
Yeah.
you understand because of how all the sentences are broken up into nonsense a lot of the time. You're like, oh, I get it. You understand and obviously it'd be more impactful if I don't carry 5 people around with me all the time that I could just have a throw together. Even if I could, I don't know if people are like, Robbie, I don't want to do this right now. I don't want to read a poem with you. Leave me alone.
It's a bit of an ask.
Maybe, I don't know. I think it's StokerCon. There could be people. I'm sure there's like those like-minded people would be able to perhaps manage something there. And that thought was in my head, like, oh, you find a group of other horror authors. They're more likely to want to do it. I don't know if anyone is critical of that. It's a small little thing at the end of the collection. Yeah. It's a nice little. It is a nice.
I gave you enough.
I mean, I don't know. It's like when you talk about you know trying to be Skeleton Crew.
Yeah.
And it's like, well, I love all those Stephen King collections because they are everything is so different from the next thing, and it is the place where I know I'm going to get a kind of broadest version of an author where I get to see them reaching to places that they can't in a novel. A novel has to be more cohesive. It is for the most part, you're going to be telling a singular story of, you know, at least theoretically, you know, a small cast of characters. Most stories aren't big, expansive things, but a collection lets you reach really far. And then I want that. That's what I don't know. I don't think I'm a normal consumer for the most part, but if people are, and also like, yeah, you are getting, it's a big chunky big boy. Like it's a big guy. Like, I don't think if they're whining about that, I don't know. I'm always like, come on, man, we work so hard. You know how hard this is? Relax. We tried really hard. I wanted to try and give you something special.
No, it is it's a thing I realized. I was on the King Cast talking about Nightmares and Dreamscapes, which is, you know, another like very important Stephen King collection to me. Yeah. And I realized as I was talking about it that it's kind of more important to me as a consumer, as probably also a weird consumer, an atypical consumer. But the thing I love about short story collections is that, and the thing that I love the most about any particular short story collection, if it can do this, is that if it's actually less important to me that every story is great, as much as it's more important to me that every story is interesting. Like, I would rather have a bunch of stuff that I've never read before, even if it doesn't work for me in the moment, or I'm like, no, that could have been more impactful or something like that. But then I'm like, oh my God, like, I've never seen a story like that before. Like, you know, have every sentence start with, like, you know, the next letter of the alphabet. Fine, cool. Like, that's just neat. Like, when am I going to see that elsewhere? Like you just said. Nightmares and Dreamscapes has, like, a screenplay in it, and that was one of the first times I'd read a screenplay as a kid.
I was a child. I was very confused. I'm like,
yeah.
What is going on? What is this, Stephen King? What are you doing to me? Why? Oh, I get it. I think I did not understand how movies were written.
Yeah,
I read that book, so I don't know.
Yeah, or there's another one that's like based off of a picture, and they include the picture, and it's like, this is so cool. It's so participatory, whether or not, you know, that story is like the greatest story you've ever read becomes kind of less important when you have that.
I don't know the idea of, I more and more have let go entirely of this story is the greatest thing ever written. It's kind of impossible.
It's an impossible ask.
It's a meaningless thing. That story meant a lot to me. That's how I'd be like, oh, that's the highest praise I can get. Is that story meant a lot to me. That's great. We're running long on the first segment. So we're gonna move on to the second one, but before I do that, I'm gonna say everyone should go read I Know a Place. I do think if that is what you're endeavoring, you want to be Skeleton Crew, I feel like you met that mark. I feel
Thank
like,
you.
yeah, I was gonna say it succeeds, and like obviously, even Stephen King's in this one, so you can. He's there. He says hi to us before you can get to the book. We can move on to the second segment, the second act, which is broader bookish questions, and the first question is from Laurel Hightower, and her question for you, and I'm just gonna read it as she said it to me, and she knew it was you. I told her it was you. And her question is, what is the most unhinged evil mother persona you've come across?
Evil, unhinged mother persona.
Or I assume character, mother character that you've come across. I do find that really funny because I don't know if she's had read. I assume she's read Rest Stop, but I don't know. But, obviously there's a grandmother that kind of looms over everything in that story. But
that's a great question, Laurel Hightower. The first thing that comes to my mind, excepting any real life people who I will not name, is the Peter Jackson movie Dead Alive / Brain Dead.
Yes,
because it's such a challenging thing with mother figures, right? Like they're especially the older you get, the more you start to really, I think, reevaluate any sort of judgment on parental figures, and you're like, well, everyone's trying, nobody knows what the fuck they're doing, and all that stuff. Let alone with mothers who have like the most unfair expectations placed on them societally and all that. But the mom Vera in Brain Dead / Dead Alive is just so loathsome and mean and Oedipal. And spoilers for a 30-year-old movie or something like that.
Yeah.
But she gets bitten by the rat monkey of Sumatra and becomes a zombie type creature. And then by the end of that movie, she has died dozens of times, it seems.
Yeah.
And then finally bursts through the floor as this massive rat monkey thing personified, and then rips open her womb and stuffs the hero back inside, which, again, I don't want to judge any sort of mother type characters, but that to me is perhaps, an unhealthy relationship.
Probably.
With one's progeny.
I mean, like the alien queen in Aliens wasn't it was not subtle enough for Peter Jackson.
Yeah.
He needed to be less subtle so we have a giant mother zombie that stuffs her son directly back inside.
Because, I mean, the thing about the queen alien is, like, she has every right to be pissed. Like, she's protecting her eggs. Like,
exactly.
I don't judge her at all. But Vera, like, cut the cord, all right? Let your son go. Let him live.
Well, it's a little late for that.
Yeah.
Unfortunately, in Dead Alive. Dead Alive's a great movie anyway. I need to watch it again.
Oh. Used to, in high school, we used to, like, basically break into the high school auditorium and project it onto the scrim. Like, we would get like the entire psych of the auditorium, this massive screen, and we would project Dead Alive onto it and just like have screenings of it. I tried to show that movie to everybody I could in the mid to late 90s. I was an evangelist for Dead Alive.
I mean, and I don't know, it's very funny that you bring up Peter Jackson because the Beatles connection to.
Oh yeah, didn't even think of that.
I mean, all I think about is whenever I think about Peter Jackson, all I think about, are we ever going to ever get splat stick Peter Jackson ever again? Oh. Are we ever going to get something I don't know. Frighteners is one of my favorite movies of all time.
Yeah.
Are we ever going to get, is he just going to make Beatles documentaries for the rest of his life?
Yeah,
and I'm like,
come on, weird, gross Peter Jackson.
I was going to say, I want the weird, I don't think he's going to. Why would he?
Meet the Feebles too.
See, I'm not, okay, we're not going to just talk about Peter Jackson movies. Meet the Feebles is actually the movie that probably unsettles me more than anything else on Earth. Like, I just weird puppets always. I don't like unwholesome puppets.
Yep. Of which there's a story, and I know a place.
Exactly, and it's effective. All right. Question I ask everybody: who is a writer more people should be reading? And you can name more than one if you'd like.
Damn, that's a good question. Let's see. A writer more people should be reading. I'm looking at my shelves right now while I'm buying time. Because also, nothing makes my mind go blank faster than a question about preferences or anything like that, because suddenly I've never read a book before.
You're not the first person to say that on this podcast either.
I bet. Well, okay. This is a weird one. I wasn't expecting this. But I named my theater company after this writer. So if people haven't read any Gunter Grass, the Tin Drum is a very apropos book right now, because it's all about trying to upset fascism, using your art to upset fascism as much as you can. I mean, it's a weird, gross fucking book about a boy who refuses to grow up and then gets a glass-shattering scream and a tin drum, and it's full of sex and weird things. There's a decapitated horse head full of eels at one point, if I remember correctly. It's been a little while since I read it. But broadening it out, I guess you could say, if you don't want to just read Gunter Grass, but reading literature from people who have been in this kind of similar moment in time, I think is very helpful. It's very good to be reminded that as horrible as things feel right now, we've been here before as a society, and there have been other weird, iconoclastic, artistic people wrestling with the same sort of things we're wrestling with right now. And the past is always so much weirder and more vibrant than you remember. So if not Gunter Grass, someone like that.
Of all the names you could have possibly said,
I assume it happens a lot, right? You get a lot of Gunter Grass plugs?
I don't get a lot of Gunter Grass, though. Gunter Grass was the last book I was given to by my late grandmother. Before
no kidding.
Passed. Yeah, I got a Gunter Grass book. It's on my shelf over there. I mean, I don't know if the people listening to this podcast are going to be seeking out Gunter Grass, but they should. I think I don't think it's a bad idea, but it's certainly not the name.
Yeah. Don't hate me if you try it and hate. That'll be my caveat to everyone. He's not for everyone.
I would also say, you just like ignited like a firestorm of anger in me when you're like, oh, if you didn't like it, I'm like, if you don't like it, good. It's okay to read things you don't like sometimes. It's not the end of the world. I know social media gets me so upset when people are 1 star. I'm like, it is good to read things that, you don't like, that challenge you, that upset you.
Some of the most important books I've ever read, I hated at the time.
It's a win. It's good that you get a visceral reaction from it. That's good. That's it. Okay, sorry. It's all right. Calm down, Robbie. My watch is going. Breathe, relax. I'm fine. Watch. What's the best piece of advice you followed?
That's a good clarification, because there's been plenty of great advice that I have not followed.
Yeah.
Probably, this is such a boring answer, but probably work every day. And it's advice that I follow because it's advice that I was inclined to follow anyway. Like, I've got that kind of mentality anyway. Like, I get very unsettled if I don't work every day. But it is nice to always have that reified, that like, even if you sit down and you don't do anything, like, you still got to be sitting down trying to work. I have been coming back to again and again and again lately, while I fight for my life through the current draft of the book I'm writing right now, the idea that you don't actually write a book, you build a book. And you build a book with one sentence at a time, one chapter at a time, one idea at a time. So don't get overwhelmed by the magnitude of the task. Just like sit down and chip away.
Yeah. Related. I guess this is a related question. This is a new question that you're the first person to get this one.
Oh, yeah.
What does the revisions process look like for you?
Ugh. Well, this one is ugly as hell.
Okay.
But it's different for every book. Generally speaking, I tend to write first drafts that are really big and floundery. Another Gunter Grass title, The Flounder. But then as the revision process goes along, it is kind of this narrowing and sharpening and shaping of the piece. And so with each iteration, it gets tighter and more clarified and things like that. That tends to be what it looks like. But there are some, like for When the Wolf Comes Home, my first draft was really tight. And it was really like I had wanted, that was kind of my assignment to myself, was I wanted to write like an airport thriller, 70,000 words, no muss, no fuss. And then as the revision process went on, it was like, oh, this is missing all the things I love about a book, like the character depth and stuff like that. So it became an expanding upon the idea. So it really is kind of, book dependent. The one I'm writing right now, my first draft was just like this sloppy, all over the place sort of finding of the story. And now it's like, hacking through the jungle with a machete, just being like, where the fuck is the story? It's in here somewhere. I know where it is, but I got to find it. And so it's taking a lot longer than I would ever have wanted. And that's just kind of, I'm a firm believer in, if it's not hard, you're doing it wrong, because you're probably just repeating yourself. But it'd be nice if it wasn't always so hard.
So hard. Yeah. Okay. We'll do at least one more question. What cursed and or sacred object is present in your writing space?
Right now, let's see. I'm looking around. There's several things. Which is the most interesting to talk about? Right now, it's kind of my desk. My desk is, it's not cursed or sacred, but it is like, I don't know. There's a question mark around it because I really want to replace it.
Okay.
I want a new desk. This is a desk I found on the side of the road in Prospect Park.
Okay.
And it is
all right. I'm already going to, please, Mr. Nat Cassidy, please replace your desk. You can get a new desk. I give you permission.
Thank you. I need it because this desk is a monstrosity. It's like 300 pounds.
Oh my God.
It is massive. And it, I think, is from Disney. You would never know, like, it is a giant, huge oaken monstrosity. There's no like branding on it whatsoever, but you open up one of the drawers and inside one of the drawers is a plate that has been screwed into the drawer for the Pirates of the Caribbean, not the Pirates of Penzance, Gilbert and Sullivan operetta.
And Sullivan.
The Pirates of the Caribbean. There's just for some reason a plate of that in there. I don't know if like someone who owned this stuck that on there for a larf, or if it is somehow related or anything. But the writing real estate, the actual like desktop real estate, is very small because there's this massive hutch, and I've had it for over 15 years. Like most of my plays and all of my books have been written on this fucking thing, but it just collects dust. And it's like the worst waste of space. And every time I have to move, it is an absolute nightmare. So I want like just like a clean, flat, like standing desk that I can like put drafts on and stuff like that. But I've been afraid to get rid of it because I'm superstitious. But also, it's got to go.
Get it out of.
Thank you for the permission. I
get it out of there. I'm the first, like, this is your job, man. Get a better. You'll work better.
That's the hope.
With a better desk. Like, it's so important to me. I can imagine. I love my desk. It's a piece of crap, but I love it. What time is it? Okay. I'll say we'll cut this segment there. Before we get out of here, though, I need a question for the next guest.
Ooh, and who is the next guest? The
next guest is, make sure, just to verify, I'm pretty sure. We'll check my schedule. It is Jackie Sonnenberg, who is a Florida author, but she is her next book is coming out in a few weeks, and it is it's launching the Crystal Lake YA imprint. So
that's very
it's YA horror, mermaids, reverse Little Mermaid, I believe, is part of the pitch she
Ooh.
told me about. But what's your question?
Oh,
It
man.
could be anything. Doesn't have to be some deep philosophical thing.
Well, let's connect it to our conversation we've had already. I think that's an interesting question. What is a piece of media you didn't like that you think everybody should try?
Okay. I
Book,
like that.
movie, whatever it is, but like you didn't like it, but there's plenty of merit to it, or it changed your perception on a way that a thing could be done.
That's such a good question. I might steal it.
Yeah.
I might use that because that's the thing I love. I love things. I love talking about art where you're like, I don't think it didn't make any sense, but it hung with me. I keep remembering this thing. I think I was talking about Fire in the Sky. That's not I don't know if it's not like, I wouldn't call it a good movie.
No.
But there's some things in it that are like awful.
Greatest abduction scene ever filmed.
Exactly. I still think about it's so horrifying.
And I'm from Arizona, so we were very possessive of that movie when it came out. We were like, oh my God.
That's even more perfect. That's it for the second act. We can move on to our final segment. It's time for blood. Yeah, exactly. Steepled fingers. It's time for struggle, for trouble, for something you've struggled with, be it nuts and bolts, mechanical issues, philosophy, ethos, business, marketing, literally anything, really. Social media is another. A lot of people complain about social media, which I understand. But it could be, something you're dealing with now, or something you've dealt with recently, whatever it may be. What is on top of mind?
Focus is the hardest thing for me right now. Like it's been a very interesting period because like I have never not had a full-time job. And then some. Like I've always been, for the entirety of my professional life, as an actor and a writer, also always had a full-time day job. So I would, have a full audition load and rehearsals and performances, and then whatever writing time I could steal and stuff like that on top of 40 plus hours somewhere. And this is the first year where I don't have a day job. Like I'm just writing full time. And I've never written less in my life. It has been such a challenge to figure out how to organize my time and focus, and like actually get stuff done. And I'm working with a counselor, and I've got my therapist, and I'm trying all sorts of things. It's a work in progress. But I was really shocked to see how load bearing your other obligations can be. Someone I was speaking with, I guess you'd call her a counselor. I'm blanking on what her like official title would be, but she made a point that like I was like, that helps me be more generous with myself. But it was basically like from age 6 to 44, you've always had someone else setting your schedule. So like you're kind of a 6-year-old again.
You don't have practice at this.
Yeah, you're right.
You're new to it.
That is a good point. And part of the issue is like just like divesting myself from the internet and from social media and stuff like that, and just making sure I'm focusing, because it is a very challenging balancing act to strike when you've got all these emails to answer, and I've got a book coming out in a week, so it's
yes,
like I
gotta,
you do. Like, promote and all these things. And just this morning I was writing, and then I was like, oh, I need to post a TikTok video, so I had to go and edit that TikTok video and post it in time for algorithmic optimization. Can't post that at night. So it's I don't have the answers yet. I'm still kind of feeling this out, but that is the challenging thing right now, is just kind of figuring out how to be disciplined.
I don't know how I don't know if are you aware of an app called Freedom?
Yes, I have that too.
Okay, there's that. Do you know how? I assume you knew. Have you done? Does Pomodoro work for you?
No.
Okay.
I've tried it. I've got the timers. I've got the timers on my desk.
I don't know. I also use Focus Frogs sometimes.
Oh, I don't know. Focus
Frog. Well, Focus Frog is, I guess, connected to a Pomodoro, but it's a little bit less. Pomodoro. I don't know. Pomodoro typically means like 25 minutes, but I myself prefer a 20-minute chunk. I feel like I work best with 20, but a focus frog is literally could be any length of time. And you have like, it's when you talk about being 6 years old, it is literally just a little empty frog with little lines in it. And every time you finish a segment of time working, you color in a part of the frog.
Oh, I love that.
And the frog has 4 pieces. And when you do 4 of them, you color in, you have a whole finished frog. It can be all one color. It could be, you can mix and match. I just have a bunch of highlighters that I just, and it gives you a little treat. You're like, I wrote for a little bit, color in the frog a little bit. And, sometimes I don't need the frogs. Sometimes I am focused. Sometimes the project just like the excitement of it is just carrying me through. I can do it. But sometimes I'm like, I need that frog today, man. I need to use that frog. There's that Hank Green, just the study buddy or whatever it's called, or I think it's a Hank Green app where it lets you set a timer, and it earns you currency that you can decorate this little guy's. It's a bean. You get a bean for the app. I can whatever. It's just all these tricks. It's like you're just. It's all about tricking your brain into doing the thing.
Yeah.
I don't know. I often when I am finding that I'm writing for 3 minutes and I'm immediately like, let me look at this thing. And it doesn't matter. I can turn off the phone. I can turn off, but I'm on a computer, and any app that tells me not to use the internet, I can defeat that app.
Oh yeah.
The app's not going to stop me.
Yeah.
A lot of times it's like, I've started writing sticky notes where it's like, look back at just like to take the moment. It's not that the break was the thing my brain wanted, not the actual reading of go read a news article or go on Instagram or whatever. It's actually like, well, wait a minute. I stopped. I looked away. Let's go back.
Yeah.
It's just constantly like moving. It's tiring. It's hard. I don't know. It's like, you're just finding new tricks, and I don't know, a lot of projects I'm like, this trick isn't going to work for this project.
Yeah, that's the annoying thing. You adapt and you need something new. And...
It's like the Borg. I don't know. I feel like I don't know. I feel like I'm such an old man where I reference Star Trek things from the 90s and no one knows what I'm talking about.
Oh, kids got to know the Borg.
I don't think kids. I'm pretty sure if I asked a random 20-year-old what the Borg is, they don't know what the Borg is.
They got to get assimilated.
Yeah, exactly. Resistance is futile. But I don't know. It's when you have a book. I don't know. When you have a book out, it's coming out. I can't. I don't know. There's a pressure of I need to. You need to record this podcast with me. Yeah. You had to break away from doing whatever you have. We all have these millions of things pulling at us. And I don't know, when I think there is a understanding that if you have a schedule, you have paradoxically, you have less time, but it's easier to know, I need to write now.
Yeah.
That pressure.
You have to create a scarcity so that you're like, this is my only writing time.
I don't know.
Sacred.
You schedule it out, or I don't know. It's a problem because I have the same problem. So it's hard for me to go, I don't know. It's like, I don't know. I schedule it. I go, give myself 2 hours. Have you read Deep Work?
I haven't read it yet.
You should read. That's really, I'm a big believer in, I don't know. It feels like there's pushback in creative communities about efficiency. Work efficiency, where it's like, oh, well, you're supposed to be creating. It's supposed to be free flowing. I'm like, well, I have a limited amount of hours in my day.
Yeah.
And Cal Newport, Deep Work, I tell that to everybody. It changes your mindset about oh, well, this is how many hours a day I can expect myself to actually focus, and how to structure your day better to get those specific hours, get the work you need to do done in those hours, and then do everything else in those other hours you have. So that's anyone out there, Deep Work.
Yeah.
That's actually, and it's short. It gets right to the point. It's not wordy. It's effective. I don't know. There's no woo in it, which I also am allergic to. I don't need woo. I don't need magic. Give me advice. Tell me what to do. Set an alarm. Tell me. Yeah.
Yeah, I'm gonna bump that up on my
You should
list.
read. It is short. It's like, it's a little thin
Yeah.
book, and it is like the chapters are pretty like, this is how this chapter, this is how this works. Um, obviously like the flow state books, like that stuff work. Those are related to deep work. But that's like, there's a lot of those books. I won't get but
well, and it speaks like we all have this problem.
Yeah.
We're all our attention spans are just cooked.
Well, I mean, it's also like there's a thing I just read about how you're not imagining your attention span being worse.
Yeah,
like
they are
people are
3 seconds now.
It's genuine because especially, and they're like, even when, especially it pertains to readers, we have focused, especially when you're reading on a screen. They did studies, and a printed page has every word is fixed. It's in a fixed location, which is easier on your brain.
Yeah.
And doesn't give your brain an opportunity to go do something else. Because every time you scroll on a screen, the words move. That's part of the deal. And when they do that, your brain gets a little confused. It goes, wait a minute, where was I? Oh, I'm right there. But in that split second, your brain goes, well, let's look over there. Let's do a different thing. And it's even worse if you have, ADHD or, something like that. It makes it even harder. And so it's like, a lot of times it's like, well, people tell me, oh, I write on pen and paper. I will, like, there's all the, like, I will do that. If I'm really having trouble, I will take a piece of paper and I'll get away from screens.
Yep.
I think it's like anything that works. So like, there's fake, any ritual, like make a noise, light a candle. I listen to a song just to get myself. I watched here. I don't know. Let me see. This is my last question for you, Nat. Are you a pro wrestling fan?
In theory, okay. I have never sat down and invested myself in it, but I love the combat. I love
it's the last pageantry. It's a last bastion of televised theater.
Yeah.
In America.
Yeah.
But sometimes I just watch wrestling promos. I watch my favorite wrestlers, and I have a playlist of promos to get you going.
I love that.
Yeah. Yeah. I mean, I feel like that's the whole thing. It's like, I don't know. I just wanted to, I like that you bring up focus, because a lot of people like, I don't like Facebook, or I don't like Instagram. I don't like social media. I'm like, well, focus is actually the intrinsic part of the hardest part of writing a book. It's like it's a marathon. It's very hard.
Yeah. And the book I'm currently writing is also just all about how awful social media is.
Oh, anyway. Great. So when is this? Is there a tentative release window for it?
It's not on the schedule yet, because I have to see how much longer I need to be in revisions for it. But hopefully autumn 2027 is the hope.
Okay.
We'll see.
Okay. No one take that as gospel.
Yeah, exactly.
That's just an idea. Maybe. It's a maybe out there. But before I bid you adieu, Nat, I do a thing, if I remember, and today I remembered, where I have our guests manifest something for themselves, for their career in the near to intermediate future, within a year or two. What would you like to manifest?
Oh, that's so lovely. Well, I could be more mercenary and be like, New York Times bestseller, but really, I want this next book that I'm currently writing to be as good as I know it can be.
Okay.
That's my manifesting. Yeah. And it's gonna be. We're gonna make it happen.
I think it will. Me and my guests have successfully manifested a couple of things already. So
I like this.
You put stuff out there. That's how it happens.
Thanks, Blood Writer.
Yeah. Before we go, where should people buy I Know a Place? Where can they find you online?
They should buy it at every store they encounter it. Every single one.
Okay.
It should be available wherever books are sold. So, I always say, support your local indie if you can. But the audiobook is also going to be a really special, fantastic experience. So either Audible or Libro FM, which is the indie version of the audiobook kind of retailer. So do that, and then you can also get a Barnes & Noble exclusive edition, which has its own cover and 2 bonus short stories. So if you want something a little more exclusive, you got to buy that at Barnes & Noble. But buy all the copies that you can, because this is an indie published book that I really, really hope does well, because Alan at Shortwave has just invested so much time and energy into this collection, and I really want him to have all the payoff he deserves. Also, it's really good, so you should just buy it and enjoy it. And you can find me, unfortunately, everywhere. I'm on all the sites, probably more than I should be, although I'm a bit of a lurker now. That is, as I wean myself off of these platforms, I don't post as much or respond as much, but I'm still there. So I'm at Cat Cassidy on all the meta stuff, and Nat Cassidy on the other ones, because somebody took Nat Cassidy before I could get to it on Instagram.
Have you tried to strong arm them into, hey, can I have it?
I kind of like Cat Cassidy now.
So. I mean, funnily enough, I sometimes go, yeah, I have Cat Cassidy on the podcast. Everyone knows who I'm talking about. They immediately know it's you. They know it's you. That you have that. It's in you. That'll be it for today. Thank you, Nat, for being on the show.
Thank you, Robbie. It was such a pleasure chatting.